but she does often come across with that judgmental lens where she's almost casting, like I said, that judgment over people, or maybe even a little bit of shame upon people who don't align with her preferred standards or way of eating, way of thinking, or way of viewing the body. Team, Christmas is approaching, so food is probably on many of your minds. And I figured because of that, it's a good chance to talk about a couple of things, and we're going to use Linda's video as a catalyst for conversation in which she discusses a week of food, workouts, lessons I've learned in recovery, and how I finally found my happy weight. She mentions a few points throughout this video that I feel, firstly, I want to address for many reasons, and secondly, I also want to address considering the time of year. So we're going to get to that. Before I do so, if at any point you do just actually like this video or agree with anything I'm saying, I would very much appreciate it if you did subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to me, and I cry every time you don't, considering half of you watching this probably aren't subscribed.
He existed in every body type, in bigger and smaller bodies, overweight and very underweight bodies. I've had different bodies for different seasons of life. Ones with lots of stress, worse mental health, less activity, more rest, and none of these bodies were ever good enough for me. In the past 2 years, I have slowly surrendered, and I'm beyond delighted to announce that the war is finally over, and I have made peace with this body of mine.
I think Linda's young, she's still finding herself, she's still learning, and whatever it may be. But I've said this before in a video, I've heard that so many times. Linda has claimed 1,000 times that she's finally found peace with her body, which is fantastic, and I love that. 2 videos later, she'll take it all back and basically say how she's gone the other way. I get how recovery and progress isn't linear, I fully respect that, but knowing that it's not linear and knowing that this behaviour from Linda is very yo-yo-like, is it maybe worth not bringing that up? Because it is something I've definitely noticed, I know many of you have noticed, is that she's great, loves her body too, she hates it again, till she loves it, and it's very yo-yo-y, and I think that's a bit of a confusing message for a lot of people. Sure, someone could argue it highlights the realities of recovery, I respect that, but is it helpful? Maybe not. It's kind of contradictory.
And it really did take repeatedly reminding myself for years, and I'm still repeating it to myself today, that my body and the way it looks and all those numbers are not what defines me, and have nothing to do with my value as a human, and all the faults I see in it and what I believe is lacking was taught to me, and it's my responsibility to unlearn that.
Firstly, that last move we just saw, awful movement. When you're trying to do like a leg lift on the side, please don't put the dumbbell down there. Ideally, you want it to be as far away from the working joint as possible to an extent, so you want it near the ankle, not near the hip, because the dumbbell's not really moving there. Secondly, this is actually a really important message, and this is kind of what I wanted to bring up regarding holidays. Linda made a point there which I really appreciate about her weight not defining who she is. Fantastic message, because I know many people watching this video do have that trouble, and to be perfectly frank, I have that trouble too. I'm actually in a deficit period at the moment where I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight rather than obviously bulk up. But I really struggle with scale weight because I see scale weight as a definitive aspect of who I am. When I get lighter, I feel worse. When I get heavier, I feel better, which might actually be contradictory to how many of you feel. But during this holiday period, when people are maybe eating a bit more freely, as you should, and maybe not as in control of their diet, which is absolutely fine, it's really important to know that your weight will probably change. It may go up, it may even go down. That weight fluctuation has no impact or influence on your worth as a human, has no impact or influence on who you are, and quite frankly, it really shouldn't, although easier said than done and quite hypocritical, I must say, have any impact on your happiness. It's very easy over this holiday period to get very caught up in guilt, stressed about what you're going to eat, stressed about the scales, stressed about all that stuff. Quite frankly, I'd say for the next couple of weeks, maybe it's best not stepping on the scales. Maybe it's best saying, you know what, you need a bit of a deload. A deload doesn't need to be a break from or a reduction in physical activity. A deload could be a psychological one as well. One where you take a step back and say, I'm not going to worry about food, I'm not going to worry about my weight, I'm just going to mentally take a break, because come the new year, I'm going to feel refreshed, I'm going to feel motivated again, I'm going to feel really excited about achieving my goals, knowing that I've had that break over Christmas and given myself that time off, and now I'm ready to crack on again. Sometimes, although it's hard to let go of control, I understand that, just taking that mental step back actually is better for you because it puts you in a better position to drive forward when the new year does come along. Again, let's say your body weight does go up or maybe does go down. Does that change anything about your life? Absolutely not. Should you allow a metric that can change literally within an hour influence your self-worth? If you wanted your body weight to go up, drink some water. If you want your body weight to go down, go for a wee. Does that suddenly alter your worth, or have you just done something in life that changed it? Weight fluctuates massively, and if we were to base our worth on that fluctuating weight, we'd never be stable, we'd be all over the place. Try your best, easier said than done, to go through this period guilt-free. No stresses, no shame, no guilt. Just because you've gained weight doesn't mean you're a worse person. Just because you've gained weight doesn't mean you're failing. Just because you've not eaten on plan or have not controlled your food as much as you would like to doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. Quite frankly, it probably just means you've given yourself a well-deserved break. And in my opinion, I think that's probably going to be quite a good thing. Very quickly, throwing out there, in January, the coaching prices will be increasing. So if you want to get on there now, honestly, all I'd say is just fill in the application form, link down below in the description, or maybe even the comment section too. Book in for a free consultation call with me. Doing so will allow you to skip out on the pending price increase. So if you're umming and ahhing about it, it's worth even exploring that conversation with me. And if it's not for you, I fully respect that. And if it is for you and you want to continue and move forward working with me on an online coaching basis where I can help you achieve your goals, whatever they may be, then we can choose a start date that's suitable for you, even if it's a little bit down the line. As always, that is linked down below in the description and also in the comment section as well, probably.
Self-worth comes from connecting to your values, spending time with others who share those values, and knowing that your value comes from more than your body.
Again, not a bad point. Ultimately, when you're looking at essentially living a better and maybe happier lifestyle, you have to consider many things. Health is not just physical. Health can be mental, which is heavily neglected. Also, health can be social too. Do not deprive yourself of social events, seeing your friends, seeing your family, enjoying holidays, because you're worried about the food there. Bit of freedom, a little bit of balance, because if something is more sustainable, therefore you can stick to it more consistently, although you may deem it to be potentially negative because you haven't controlled something perfectly every day, what if that additional freedom actually allowed you to stay more consistent in the long run, which actually better helped you achieve the results you wanted to achieve down the line, simply by giving yourself a little bit of freedom and also just being a little bit kinder to yourself, especially over a holiday period. Enjoy time with your friends, enjoy some food you're probably not going to eat again until next year. Be a little bit kind, be patient with yourself. Progress isn't linear, there are ups and downs, and as I always say, baby steps are still steps.
Weight is lost all across your body, and weight is likely not the only thing you'll lose. I lost all that time I spent worrying about it. I also lost my personality, my health, my social life, my strength, my smile. Sometimes our genetics are not what's hot and trending, but our bodies are not a trend. And because trends never stay the same, you will never be happy with your body.
I've actually made this point before about if you base your desired standard and how you feel like you should look on current beauty standards, you're never going to get anywhere because they change all the time. 10 years ago, one standard was a certain way. 5 years ago, it was something. Now it's something else. Whether you're slim, larger, whatever it may be, beauty standards are always changing. Societal standards, preferences, whatever it may be, are always changing. It's key to try and focus less on how you feel like you should look and more on how you feel like you want to look. Don't worry about appealing to the world around you and appealing to society and beauty standards. Focus on appealing to yourself first, which again, I know is easier said than done, but maybe just a bit of food for thought.
We definitely don't have a body, so we can spend years trying to shrink it, deprive it, control it, and punish it. All of that being said, I have nothing against people who have aesthetic body goals. I think achieving these goals can be a very empowering and life-changing process. It's just not for me.
Valid, completely understand and respect it, not for her. But she states out she's not against people wanting to achieve these goals. But throughout the video, it very much gives a tone like she's almost judging or casting judgment over people who are about aesthetic goals, who do want to look a certain way, who do want to maybe be a bit more restrictive with food, or maybe do something that she may not align with that may not necessarily be healthy for her, which again, I respect it's not healthy for her, but just because it's not healthy for her doesn't mean it's maybe not healthy for somebody else. And just because it doesn't align with her goals doesn't mean it shouldn't align with somebody else's. It's very easy for us to assume that our goals or the way we approach things or the way we think is the best way, but in reality, everybody's different. You may not agree with how I train, I may not agree with how you train. If it's how you want to train, if it makes you happy and it helps you achieve what you want to achieve, who am I to say it's wrong? I notice there's a lot in Linda's videos, and again, maybe it's me, maybe it's my incorrect perception, but she does often come across with that judgmental lens where she's almost casting, like I said, that judgment over people, or maybe even a little bit of shame upon people who don't align with her preferred standards or way of eating, way of thinking, or way of viewing the body, which I don't necessarily agree with, as it can promote a bit of a conflicting message and also make some people actually feel pretty bad about what they want to achieve, when you certainly shouldn't feel bad about wanting to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. Again, it's just my opinion, but I just wanted to present something surrounding what I'd seen and also use it as a bit of a catalyst to talk about holiday and trying to remove a little bit of food guilt many of you may feel, and also maybe some scale anxiety too. If stepping on the scale triggers a negative emotional reaction, maybe it's worth taking a break from that scale, putting it away for a while and revisiting it down the line. And maybe worry about other metrics instead. Do you feel better? Are you performing better? Do you look a little bit better? It doesn't just need to be the scale. You can set that one to rest for a little bit. Like with all my videos, this is simply my opinion, and I'd love to hear yours in the comment section below. But until next one, thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating my waffle about Christmas, food, and Linda, and thank you for tolerating the video.